It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Seattle Kraken Media Relations Director, Ben Guerrero. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work in professional sports?
Yeah, I think just growing up, my parents were very much sports fans, and just kind of, I think they kind of caught on when I was younger, and just something that I always was interested in all through school and growing up, and been able to luckily make that happen so far.
Can you talk about, of course, your time working with the Oklahoma Athletics?
Yeah, so I was looking for any way to get into sports, and so there was a part-time role with the athletics that opened up, and got a chance to get some hands-on experience in the sports world, and they were very open to helping learn, and it was very nice to be able to try different departments, and I was able to kind of bounce around and try different areas that I hadn't tried before, and it really helps you get that hands-on experience, and that was a kind of really big moment for me, just to finally break in and get into the industry, and just really figure out what it is I wanted to do in the areas I like to work in.
What was it like being the associate producer intern for the Oklahoma Athletics?
Yeah, so that was another position that kind of aligned more closely to what I wanted to get into, and both my bosses at the A's were very helpful. Helping me pursue kind of my dream of working in sports. It was a good opportunity to work more on the communication side and get to know the broadcasting side. And I wanted to get into broadcasting when I was younger, and got a chance to finally do that. And I think in that process, you learn what you like to do, but also maybe what doesn't work. And I think that was just as valuable because it kind of pushed me towards the PR side.
Can you talk about, of course, working with the San Jose Giants?
Yes, yeah. So that was, I think, one of the more valuable things that you can do is work in minor league sports, because it's such a small staff that you really get your chance to wear a number of hats, and work in different departments and areas. And that was an opportunity for me to try a lot of different departments, and see exactly what it is I wanted to go into. And again, like I said, I just kept finding the common denominator was that PR side, interested me a lot, and it was a good opportunity to get a chance to do some of that.
What was it like working in public affairs?
It was good. It was something that, again, I had a lot of experience with in school, and so it was a really good opportunity for me to get to do some hands-on work in the area that I really wanted to go into. And we had a pretty good team there too, which helps. Obviously, you don't take a job for the team, because teams go up and down in terms of how they are on the field or on the ice. But it definitely helps to have a good team there. It was a really good learning experience to work with players that eventually would go on to win a World Series with the Giants.
Can you talk about, of course, making the jump from minor league to working in the professionals with the big time when you went to San Jose Sharks?
Yeah, so I had I was lucky enough to be able to do both of those at the same time. I did baseball during the summer, and then the Sharks during the winter and fall. And again, it was very lucky to have a boss that kind of empowered everyone to do hands-on work, and actually do work. It wasn't like getting coffees and printing things and stuff like that, but it was a really good opportunity to finally work in. I grew up a hockey fan, so it was a good opportunity to kind of jump to hockey and get a chance to do that, and really meet people in the industry as well. And that kind of helped network and meet some people that would eventually, assist in getting me other jobs in the future.
What was it like to get the job as the media relations assistant for the San Jose Sharks?
Yeah, I think that was, it was kind of a persistence, just keeping in touch with people and, doing informational interviews to try to find areas that interest you. And it was through that position became available. And, I was lucky enough to be the right place at the right time. And, that was, I think, a really good building block for me to learn kind of the specifics of the day to day of the PR side. And, it definitely helped with my experience going forward.
What were some of your roles and responsibilities as the media relations assistant for the San Jose Sharks?
That was it was more of a part-time role, so it was kind of a lot of it was learning, but there's a lot of writing, press releases, stories for the magazine, and just trying to learn how to write. Obviously you go through college and school, and there's a certain format you have to follow, but it's a little different when you're writing for for a website or for a magazine and trying to write for sports. And then just also learning how to conduct yourself like in a locker room setting and how these athletes are very talented and they're obviously famous, but they're just people like everyone else, and you have to kind of try to treat them that way and not be in awe, I guess. Sometimes it's still going to happen. There's definitely times that you're that you're a little starstruck, but you have to try to limit that if you can.
What was it like transitioning from San Jose to the Washington Capitals as the manager of media relations?
That was a really good opportunity to kind of jump into the full-time role. Washington was a different market, and it was just a good opportunity, to get some more responsibility, and then also to kind of come out of your comfort zone a little bit and go to a different coast that you haven't lived on, and a different city and market you haven't lived in before or worked with. Really met a lot of great people there and a lot of good opportunities there. Actually, do you mind if we pause really quick? I just have a call really quick I have to take. So I'm sorry.
What are your roles and responsibilities when you were at San Jose as the media relations assistant?
Yeah, so again, a lot of just getting to know the landscape of sports and working in a locker room, and obviously a lot of writing and a lot of just building those relationships up. And that was kind of my primary goal, is to kind of learn how to work in a locker room environment as well.
What was it like going from Washington to back to San Jose?
It was a very tough decision because I really loved my time in Washington. I made some really close friends there, and it was probably no other job at the time that I would have left for, but the chance to go back home to San Jose and work for a team that I grew up rooting for, and move back closer to family was really enticing. And it was a tough decision, but it was, at the end of the day, it was one that was right for my career and for my family life as well.
What was it like taking the role at San Jose as the director of media relations, and what were your roles and responsibility as director?
Yeah, it was obviously a big opportunity for me to kind of take some more responsibility and really kind of mold the department to be a little bit more what I was hoping to be. And I think I love to travel, and so the traveling aspect is something that's always been really really fun for me to go see different buildings and see different cities. But it's a lot more responsibility too, for you're kind of on call all the time. You may have practice on a Sunday or a Saturday, but just because practice ends, you're still on call, you're still working. And during the off season, I've been at barbecues before, 4th of July, and you get a call that you're signing a player, and so you have to be on call all the time. And I do like that because it's not predictable. Every day is different, but it is kind of one of those things where you have to try to balance your life a little bit with how busy the season is. It's a good opportunity though to again build relationships and to try to push the team and the brand to the best of your abilities.
Of course, with that being said, how difficult is it sometimes to balance family life and, of course, being the director of media relations and getting calls when you're with your family?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I'm at a point where I don't have kids right now, so it's a little easier for me to be able to be on the road and to be away without having kids. But at the same time, my wife works in sports as well, so it actually helps because she knows the schedule and she knows kind of when the busy times are and how hectic it is, and it really helps to have someone that's kind of in the same mindset as you, because then we both are able to experience things together. That we actually have been able to work together a couple different places as well. So it's been nice to have someone that gets what the grind is like, and can help support you, and you can support her as well.
What was it like transitioning from San Jose Sharks to, of course, when the Seattle Kraken came about, going to Seattle Kraken to be the director of media relations?
Yeah, I mean, just an incredible opportunity. Again, really hard to leave, your hometown and family. And, my wife is still in San Jose working for the Sharks, but, the chance to help build something and build something from the ground up and work in such an unbelievable organization like Seattle, and has a great city as well. Every person I met along the way made me more excited about the opportunity. And, this is a great group of people here, and it's, really been a fun ride so far. It's been very busy, a lot of things to do when you're starting from scratch, but it's been a fun ride so far. Looking forward to experiencing more firsts.
Of course, what are some of your roles and responsibility as the director of media relations for San Jose? First the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, so a lot of the same. Our job is to make sure that the team, the players, the staff, are representing our brand to the best, and making sure that the Seattle Kraken are represented well in the public and in the media. And we're also unique in that since we are creating a new team here, it's a unique opportunity to build a fan base, build a community, and help create that media landscape as well. And there's a lot of education too, for not just for the hockey in general, but for the NHL as well, and how things work and operate. And it's been, like I said, it's been busy, but it's an exciting time also.
What are some similarities and differences between starting new with the Seattle Kraken versus when you were with San Jose Sharks?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot of similarities, but I think the differences would probably be just the open thinking here, since there aren't processes in place, and there's still an education level for media and whatnot, that you can kind of tailor things to fit their needs, but also to fit maybe how we want to do things here. And it's a lot easier to with some processes to start from scratch than to try to change things. And I think that's been probably one of the more attractive parts of this job, is being able to build stuff rather than have to go back and maybe correct things, or change things after they've been going for a while.
Of course, what is the process for members of the media, such as myself and other people like ESPN and other independent news sources, to get interviews with players from the Seattle Kraken, coaches, or even staff members?
Yeah, I think we're still putting that into play too. I mean, our department is the kind of the organizer of a lot of that. So we receive the requests, either email, phone call, etc., requesting certain people, and we have to then prioritize them, and also work with the schedules of all the players and coaches, and make sure that there's a balance there too, because obviously, as you can guess, there's a lot of requests for the same people over and over again, and you have to realize that these are people too, and they have their own jobs. So there's a lot of trying to balance things with their work schedule to make sure they're not getting burnt out. And I think that's a big part of our department, is trying to make sure that everyone's getting what they need, but also no one's getting burnt out or overworked.
Of course, what is the process like of weeding through the people to know, of course, who can do an interview with this particular person or this particular coach?
Yeah, again, I think that's part of what we're still trying to put together now. I mean, having worked in the NHL for a while, I do have some relationships with some media, so I'm familiar with a fair amount of them right now. But there's a lot of people that are new, or that you're trying to also, as an organization, branch out a little bit more. So you have to be careful and balance that with knowing that there's a lot of people that would like to do interviews or like to get in touch with the players and coaches, but at the same time, we only have a certain number of asks that these guys can do, and so you have to prioritize if it's really worth the time, if the outlet that you're working with has enough reach that it's worth that player's time type thing. You'd like to do all of them if you could, but the fact is you can't get to all of them, especially with how busy the schedule gets and how many requests you have. So it's just kind of finding that balance. I think that's still a work in progress.
What was it like this previous season, of course, during COVID, transitioning into getting the team together, doing media requests while everybody was at home and have free time, versus now where it's a little hard to balance everybody's schedule out?
Yeah, I think there was for everyone in the whole world, it's been an adjustment period over the last couple of years. We obviously weren't allowed to have any in-person media, just with the protocols and everything like that. But I think the players, the coaches, and everyone in the front office, getting used to using Zooms, whether it be for business or for interviews. We completely kind of started a new protocol on Zooms, and I think ideally we go back to how things were before. But I think there's still a very big part that Zoom can play. Especially, we have situations where we have players right now that are overseas or in Europe and they aren't here. And so the only real way we can get in touch with them or have them talk to media is through Zoom. And I think the fact that people are used to using it now and players use it for meetings and whatnot, it helps. There's a familiarity there that I think we can continue going forward, even if things were to return to normal.
Of course, with that being said, when you said things will go back to normal, do you still see players using Zoom and other website, other web browsers and video chats like that, to get more interviews out versus just having your little local media and stuff come out and do an interview?
I think so. I think there's pros and cons to both. Obviously, it's more personable to be here and in person and kind of be around the players, and the media gets a chance to kind of build that rapport with them. It's also a little more efficient too when they're in person here. But I definitely see Zoom as being something that is used going forward. I think it's so easy now to get in touch with players, or get if a media can't be two places at once, right? You're at maybe you're covering the Seahawks one day and you can't come down to our practice, then it's we can throw a guy on a Zoom. I think there's definitely pros and cons to all of it, and I think there's probably the perfect world is a little bit of a hybrid kind of format.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before working in professional sports and the media relations side?
Oh, that is a good question. I think just the number of random requests that you get throughout a year. Obviously everyone has a job description and what your key job functions and responsibilities are, but that is such a small percentage of what our day gets spent doing. You're not getting into too specific of things, but I mean, there's been requests that I've had for players to get reservations places or help them book things, or just random things that come up that you didn't think were part of your job, but it's just part of making it so that the players can focus on playing and don't have to worry about all the distractions and worrying about all these extracurricular things. That's kind of what our department is here to help with. And I think that's part of that resume that says other duties as assigned. I think every day when you work in sports, that's like a key part of every role's job description, is that everyone in sports kind of has to do things that aren't part of the job description. I think that's what makes it fun, what makes it interesting to work in the sports industry.
What advice would you have somebody looking to work in professional sports on the media relations side?
I would say just meet as many people as you can. Get to know people and make those face-to-face interactions. Writing is a huge part of everything, from emails to press releases to stories, just the ability to get along with people. I think communication is something that everyone talks about in every industry, but I think it's so important for people to communicate. It's not ever an issue to over communicate as much as when people don't communicate enough, and that's when problems start to arise. I just think being persistent also, and also not giving up. It took me a long time, over probably 200 plus things that I applied for that without getting calls back. And you just have to have a thick skin and not let it get to you. And if you really want to focus and work in this industry, then you'll find a way.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the Seattle Kraken at?
Yeah, so I think probably the best is probably Twitter. I think at Seattle Kraken is the Twitter handle for us. And then I'm not super exciting, but mine's at BR Guerrero on Twitter. But I don't usually post too much stuff. But
thank you again, Ben Guerrero, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the Director of Media Relations for the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Ben, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thanks, you as well, Brandon. Take care.
You too.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.